But there we are. Also worried about the mics being muted that I forgot to actually put this up on the screen. That's all right, because we're here now. And Katie's here. And look what we got here. Like the smallest little person. Like I can just... I've been told I'm not supposed to do that, but... This is our daughter, Emily. She's home from school. She's checking us out. Making sure that we're going to do an okay job. Keeping me in line. You guys have been at our shows before, our live streams, and seen Emily Hill in chat. She's going to show up tonight, I think. She's got her phone in hand and everything. Here she is, live and in person. And eventually, when we get enough gear, she's actually going to have her own microphone. I don't know about that. Well, welcome back to another Case of the Mondays anyways, and I'm happy all of you are here watching us. We have a lot to talk about, and we have a very special guest. If you guys haven't seen ahead of time, a good friend of ours has finally been able to come onto our show, and we're very happy for it. And, well, do you want to introduce him?
It's the one, the only, bearded Empire of Dirt, Jeff Kane.
Jeff Kane. Come on up, bud.
Hello, everybody.
How's it going, man?
It's going.
Yeah.
What's our goal for tonight?
Our goal? To at least do an hour of live stream and talk about mostly you.
Spotlight's on you.
You know, I should think of subjects to do, like topics, but usually when we have a guest on, it's just more about...
More getting to know you behind the scenes.
Hanging out, getting to know a person so other people can get to know you. And I think a lot of the people that watch us watch you as well.
I think a chunk of them do at least.
Yeah. And you're in a lot of live streams. So even if they're not familiar with your content, they're familiar with you being there in the chat room.
First question of the night for Jeff.
Oh, right off the bat. Tommy. Jeff K., why are you so dang sexy? I always say a lot of Flintstone vitamins, and I got it from my daddy. No, our goal tonight is... What's that?
Long-term genes.
Yeah. The ones that get passed down there, never outdone by something else. Dominant genes. I
The dominant ones aren't always the good ones.
Right.
It's true. I had a question myself for you because when I was doing the description for the video, I wanted to put Master Fish Breeder Jeff Kane. Yeah. And I don't know if that's a thing or not. Is that a qualification? Is that just a title? Is that even a thing? Because in my mind, you're pretty knowledgeable of the subject.
Technically, I'm not that. Because you have to get it from a fish club. I'm part of a fish club.
Okay.
At least not one that I physically go to. It does require you to take your line of fish, breed them, and take the fry into the fish club. And then you get acknowledged for spawning those fish. But because there's nothing in the Northwoods, there's no club to be part of to do that. So it would... If I was to call myself a master breeder, it would be self-imposed. So technically not the correct way to go about it.
I see. But I feel like you have quite a bit of knowledge in that and experience, knowing what you've taught us, and knowing a little bit of your background as far as working in fish shops. I think at one point you had said that there was a guy that you worked for and he taught you a lot as far
Yep.
as in your beginning phases of learning how to
He taught
breed
me
fish.
pretty much everything because everything else that I had learned was just really just put fish in water, and that was about it. Um, I still do a lot of that though, because I have a shallow well. I don't have to deal with chlorines and that kind of stuff. That being said, I have a shallow well with low TDS, low pH. It usually stabilizes around 6.9 once it's in a tank, but out of the tap it comes out at 5.9.
Nice.
It's quite a bit different than our city water here.
Yeah. I did
So
recently
knowing
just
like
test I tested the little lake behind the house, and it actually runs 5.9 with a TDS of around 32.
Wow.
That's very low for TDS.
Very low. It's because it's just pulling off the top surface water, which is rain,
Mm-hmm.
which is the same aquifer that my well is in.
So there's one thing that never crossed my mind, when we first started asking questions, and just so everyone knows, like we've depended on Jeff quite a few times, calling him up, asking him things. Because all of a sudden we have fry, we have eggs, and what are we supposed to do? Because this is just like we're just new enough in this hobby where I wanted to have the best success rate, and being able to have access to Jeff and be able to call him up, and he's been gracious enough to give his advice, and a lot of it all of it has been very beneficial and has helped us greatly in having a success rate better than we had before asking him. And it has to do with our angel fish mainly, because that's the ones, our live bearers, they just kind of they do what they do. But as far as hatching from eggs, it's been a difficult road. We went through a lot of batches, and Jeff's knowledge has helped us a lot. But there's one thing that we never really took into consideration was the TDS and just the pH, because it didn't occur to me that eggs were affected that much. We knew that just keeping fish in general, can become acclimated to pretty much anything, for the most part. So they're not as sensitive. You can keep them alive in a lot of things, but when it comes to hatch rates and whatnot for eggs, this seems to be a lot more sensitive. Am I right about that?
Yeah, it depends on the species too. Like a lot of the South American fish rely on rain, so there's nothing in the water. Um, Even places in Asia, um, some African places. Not all African fish are like rock hard water fish. Even here, you can go an hour north and you can test the water in the lake and you get like 400, 800 TDS because it's a deeper aquifer, so it's drawing the minerals out of the rock. Whereas like my little lake nearby is like 12 feet deep. It's just playing with the surface water.
Right.
There's a lot more variance and flexibility in fish than people give them credit for. But when they come from a naturally acidic place, like some of the South America areas, because there's some hard water down there too, the eggs are kind of genetically formed to calcify.
Yeah. Well, our water normally sits around 8. Once it's in the tank and everything, come out of the tap, I think it's even at 8.
Yeah.
And so
And
the pH wise.
I'm not sure how much the pH actually plays into it. I think it's more of a you add your TDS and your mineral content, and that kind of drives it up a bit. I'm not sure
Right.
which specific mineral it is that pushes it, because
Well,
I'm basically lacking. I'm pretty sure that my only mineral is iron from my well pipe rusting out.
uh, well, there's a lot of people that have a lot of iron. Just I think from that, if they're in city areas or even in a rural area when they have pipe issues, but I do know there's a lot of wells and whatnot, or even natural springs that will have higher iron content, even like artesian wells. We have an artesian well nearby, I guess if you want to say within 5 miles of us, and we used to go there to get our water for our tanks. Even though it was a trek, we would go there with water containers. But what I noticed using that, it kind of we'd get more bacteria blooms, the white cloudy blooms using that water, and I never really tested
Actually,
it, but it was
it'd be
is
worthwhile testing. Um,
I'd like to try it now that I know a little
yeah,
more about that.
I'd kind of be interested too. I know that we had an artesian well when I lived up north on one of my aunt's farms. Um,
Wonderful
and
drinking water. The water tastes great, so I just figured it's natural coming out of the ground.
yeah,
It's well known in the area. People like to go there and fill up their water for themselves, but
so it depends on how deep of the well or the artesian well is. Um, some of them do tap into the deeper aquifer, and then you get more minerals out of it. Whereas the shallower ones would, be more mineral free. Usually, the less minerals in the water, the better it tastes.
okay. It's definitely something I'm gonna do some testing on. Um, how's the chat going?
It's rolling.
Yeah, funny stuff, probably.
Not yet.
I'm not looking at it myself.
Chat
Yeah.
amongst themselves.
I'd like to know, Jeff, a little more of your. Is this popping up on the screen here? Your fish keeping background. You probably talked about it before, but like, what's your earliest memory? Maybe your youngest age when fish became
So
something of a high interest to you, or a
I
higher
believe
interest.
fish came into my life around 5 or 6. Um, my dad had a really good paying job down in the Waukesha area. So my first pet that I can remember was Wally, the Cayman gator.
Okay,
We only had him for a little while, but we fed him goldfish, so those were technically my first fish I kept. And then my mom fed him KFC, and he died.
KFC. That's a
He
good
was too
name.
young, a little bit greasy, so that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and
Was
I've always been into reptiles, turtles, tortoises, snakes a little bit. I prefer the small ones. I like the snakes and grass snakes.
reptiles have always been kind of cool to me, but I'm a baby when it comes to snakes. I think they're amazing, but it's just
He'll scream like a girl.
trying to get over the way they move, because they move like nothing else on the planet Earth.
My dad was
and
afraid of snakes, so when I was little, he used to catch them and give them to me to make it so I wouldn't be afraid of them.
yeah,
Um, when I worked at Foster and Smith, there were some snakes that got loose, and they didn't know what it was. It was trying to rattle like a rattlesnake to, ward people off. It was just a baby corn snake, maybe about
okay,
5 or 6 inches long. I brought it home, and we raised that up. Then my wife left the top off when it was about a foot long, or the weight off the top, and was able to push its way out. It spent the entire summer ridding our house of mice and crickets or bugs or whatever it could find. That fall, I found it in the well pump trying to stay warm, and I think it was like 2.5 feet long at that point. So
Wow.
he grew a foot and a half over the summer, just
Wow.
fending for himself.
They're
Then I
amazing
got ready to
creatures,
tank.
man. They,
Yeah,
I know they're
yeah,
very
yeah.
beneficial for the ecosystem. I mean, obviously they take care of pests, and I'm very mesmerized by them at the same time as like when they get too. I don't know. It's something about the movement, and I know that eventually I'm gonna have to get over that and hold one, and
Do you
I'd
still have
really like to be able
biters?
to do that.
We
Yeah.
we do.
We have one.
Yeah, so that might help you get over it, just watching him move, because it's the same thing. It's just an
Yeah.
aquatic snake, basically, as far as the movements go.
Right.
Um,
It's just when I come across them in my yard when I'm walking through. You know, it's usually the garter snakes or whatever, and it's
yeah, it's really unlikely you're going
take
to
you
run
by.
into something harmful.
Yeah, I know that. It's just they usually come out of nowhere. You're like right up on them, and all of a sudden you see this thing move, and it's like
I know that they
startles me every time.
reintroduced timber rattlers in our area to help with some of the rodent and I think small game.
Yeah, yeah.
That was
Came across a hognose
like
once.
20 years ago.
That thing was the first hognose I came across was in a road, and I pulled over because I thought someone had ran over it. It was just kind of like laying there in the middle of a country road, and I got out to kind of check on it and kind of moved back, and it flared kind of its neck out. You know, they get kind of flattened out. I think it
Yeah.
might have hissed or breathed kind of at me or whatever. I found out it wasn't dead, obviously, but it was kind of like plain dead, and I didn't know they kind of did that, and had no idea what kind of snake it was. I just thought it was a rattlesnake, because to me
Yeah.
it looked like one, and so. But
I know
there's
that when I was servicing the Merrill area, I was out in the what was it? I forget what the name of the township is, but it was southwest of Merrill and northwest of Wausau, and I ran across a fox snake crossing the road, and it literally went about a foot from each side of the road across the road. So you know, he was pushing 10
Wow.
foot. I was an old farm road,
Yeah.
so it's not a true 2-lane road, but
oh yeah, it's still large.
that was the biggest snake I ever seen in the wild.
My favorite is when Jake's headed out to the greenhouse and I'm on the deck and I hear a big hoot. I always know he finds a snake in there because it's warm.
Yeah,
That's funny.
she has no problem. Her mom comes over and they'll walk through and they'll pick him up. Jake, you want to come hold it? And I'm like, no. But eventually, I'm gonna have to bite the bullet and do that.
Yeah, I learned that I could chase my mom and my aunts and everybody with snakes, so they became very cool for me. I'll have to be sure to bring one with me when I come to visit you at
Was it-
some point.
That'd be great. Go ahead. I wouldn't mind at all. I was telling Emily that you were breeding up those black moors. So I said, you remember Wally? She's like, oh yeah. I'm like, well, Jeff's got a bunch of those.
Yeah, I do need
Definitely.
to start getting those guys moving before I end up getting too big to ship and stuff. I figured I'd probably
Yeah.
pull a couple of the bigger ones for you guys. I don't know how many you want and bring those over. Some of the stuff that
We're gonna be in
comfortable
the-
shipping that I normally sell to the store or something.
I wish our store would. We asked them, but it's Pet Supplies Plus, and we asked them, hey,
You
do
can
you
do
buy
it.
back fish? Do you buy fish? And they, at least the kid there said no, they don't do that. But I should probably
Yeah.
actually ask a manager or something about it.
You can do it if you get a business license and you become a wholesale type business. Then you can get on their list. because you can even get on the list for PetSmart or Petco. But
Well,
you're,
these,
when you're on that list, you're selling at true wholesale prices, which are coming from China or imports and stuff like that. So, I mean,
right,
realistically, it costs you 5 times as much to make the fish to sell back to them.
right. I think it'd be better just to give them away or sell them locally to other people in the area.
Yeah, or learning how to ship can be helpful too. 'Cause it's really not that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, you
I
do
know
have things that happen, but
Jimmy P's interested in having some of our swordtails, which I'd gladly just give them to him. I told him I've never shipped fish before, so I don't. So he was going to talk to us about that a
e-
little bit.
the easy mode of shipping fish is just do breather bags.
Okay.
That's the easiest way to do it. They don't get jostled around as much. That's not how I ship. I do want to get a bunch of breather bags because they're kind of expensive, but it's hard to fail a breather bag. I mean, you want to use a looser insulation that can breathe, and you don't want to seal your box super tight. Whereas the way I ship them, I seal my box super tight, so I don't get the air infiltration. But that means that they have to be in true bags, because otherwise the box will run out of oxygen at some point. Eventually, when I finally get set up better, I'm gonna probably do some tutorials on how I ship, and maybe how I recommend for a beginner to ship.
That'd be really useful. Because even if we don't do it for profit, it'd be more of the fact that we're going to have, at least pretty soon, a lot of angelfish and no home for them. And that's going to come eventually. And just to
Eventually, it is,
see if some people are going to want them, and we can just figure out a way to get them to them. I got.
If you can start doing like a fish club meeting, even if you got to drag a couple hours to get to it, that would be very beneficial for you.
Be cool to set up a club. I'm sorry,
There might
Jeff.
be
I'll
some
be
of
right
us
back.
earlier.
I'm gonna leave you with Katie for just a second, because
I get to talk.
yeah. Well, I forgot
I forgot I
uh,
had a voice.
empty the bladder before we started.
Yeah.
TMI. Too much information.
So, did you guys catch any fish the other day when you guys went on the kayaks?
Yeah, we caught some bass and bass. I got a couple of northern, and then Jill was catching some pumpkin seeds also on jigs that were way too big for their mouths. Really pretty little fish though.
Oh yeah, we have yet to go fishing or get our license. And I told Jake, I said, I'm bound and determined to get the boat out this year. It'd be 3 years since we had it out if we don't.
Yeah, I never go on a fishing opener because it's just crazy. It's not worth it. So this was our first weekend off together. That wasn't fishing opener. So, I wanted to go down to Quad City Swap really bad. But I kind of weighed the perks versus, taking Jill out fishing versus going down there. And I think it was more beneficial to take Jill fishing this time. He was chatting with Skull a little bit, and he wanted to hit Quad City in September. Unfortunately, this September won't have to work. So the first Quad City that comes up that I'm not working again is November.
Gotcha.
We'll see how the summer goes. If I end up having an abundance of fish come November, I might go down and actually set up a table and sell. So far, everything's been staying pretty stable as far as quantity of fish that I have versus, space.
That's
But I also haven't been focusing on breeding anything in particular, except for I've been pulling way too many bristlenose, and that's going to be a problem soon.
It's like us and the Angels. I think we're on our 8th spawn.
How many fry are you raising up to?
Well, there's 2 5 gallons that are getting full of them. They're larger where they're actually looking like angels right now. And then they just spawned again a couple days ago, and there's like hundreds in the breeder tank.
Are you still pulling the eggs, or?
No, there's a separate breeder tank for the one breeding pair that we have.
And they're raising them up?
Yeah, they're swimmers down in the 29 for the breeder tank right now, and then we'll take them and pull them. Otherwise, they start to eat them, and then they spawn again.
Yeah. I know that I have one pair that spawned while they were in quarantine. They raised the fry, and I pulled the other 2 females out when the quarantine was done. They raised them up. They got them pretty big before they finally spawned again. And then when they spawned again, they actually just ate the eggs. And then they didn't spawn again until I finally pulled all the fry out that were actually almost adult sized at that point. But that was the best way I found to keep the numbers manageable, was just to let the parents do what they're going to do.
We kind of did that
And if
last
you've got-
time with
A little
these.
If you've got multiple buckets full, it might be the way to go. We're getting a breeding pair back into community safety, so you just don't end up overwhelmed too badly.
Right. They might
can
end
get
up
pretty
going
rough.
back in there. It's just we got the other angels in that tank still, the other 2, and the other pair spawned in that 75. I don't know if he said that while I was gone. But the thing is, I kind of figured would happen by the next morning. All the eggs were gone. I think it's just because the other fish we have in there made quick work of that. But
They would have been beautiful babies, though.
adding the other pair
Okay.
back in with that community tank, I think would cause a lot of issues at this point, because they're going to be aggressive.
The ones that I have that are technically like a double dark angel, for whatever reason, they just aren't very fertile. He's just not figuring it out. Because all the eggs are there, so he's just not following them.
You got a comment from Peplin?
Yeah, I see that.
Brian?
September, I'm definitely not going to be able to make it. I know I'm working that weekend. When Skull was chatting with me about it, I looked it up right away. November is feasible. I think for me to be able to physically do it, I need a 4-day weekend minimum. Because I have to pull my fish throughout the work week, get them into separate tanks so I can start purging them before we go. And then I think all day Friday and all day Saturday would probably be, all day Friday would be my bagging day. And then Saturday would be my drive down day. Sunday's your set up and tear down. And Monday would be the drive home. That's the only way I think I could do it without it being too stressful. And that's realistic for like any swap I would attend. I would need at least.
At the swaps, is there tanks there that you release, or you just bring them and they stay in bags?
As far as I know, every swap you go to, you bring your own setup. So, like, if I was setting up for Cataclysm, I'd probably build a special rack on wheels to be able to wheel in tanks and then just bag out of those. When you do something like that, though, you have to keep in mind that you need water. Personally, I would rather use my water than an event's water, so I would have to truck my own water if I want to.
That's a lot of work.
It is, but if you have a good turnout, it's worthwhile. Because you get exposed to more people, and then when you get exposed to more people, you have more avenues to sell. And sometimes you get exposed to a pet store, and then you can wholesale again. And when you wholesale, you want to do it in bulk. You know, you don't want to be selling 5 fish. You want to be selling 50 fish.
Dozens. I would just like to go to buy fish.
Even like when I wholesale to a store, I change my rates based on the quantity that they're buying. You know, if they're only buying a few fish, it's definitely a higher rate. If they're buying a big bulk amount, then you know you're reducing it based off the fish. I have sold the fish flippers before when I had way too many angels. I had just moved them. But I was selling like 600 fish at grab.
Wow.
So it was still worthwhile. It was at a low enough rate that they were probably selling to wholesalers or to other pet stores that I didn't have access to.
Right.
But it was enough that it helped me free up tank space. Was my biggest thing because they were getting too big. I needed them to go. They needed to be gone.
Yeah. I think for us, we know a few people around here that keep fish. Unfortunately, we don't have a club like right locally. Obviously, it's just a small town, but we know between our jobs, being in retail, we just know a lot of local people, and then
Well, you're like an hour south of Superior, right?
Yeah, roughly.
Or is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's got to be some in Superior, Duluth area. That's way too big of a population to not.
Right. There's got to be. We just never really looked into it yet. And just being busy with our schedules and whatnot, I just thought it'd be cool to kind of just offer it to other people. Because right now we're learning how to keep the fish, how to get a good hatch rate and keep the fish alive past, being a wiggle worm. And so when we succeed, it's great. But then I start thinking, okay, now we have, in that little 5-gallon, we got seven little angelfish, and they look like angels. And eventually they're going to way too big for that. They're going to, and the amount of tank space that we have, it'd be nice to... We started doing this just to be able to have more fish without having to buy them. That's kind of the idea of like, okay, well, I can grow my own fish, basically. But then eventually, you see very quickly that once you start getting successful at it, you're ending up with pretty soon hundreds of fish, which is probably what's going to happen here soon.
For one breeding pair of angels, my personal preference would be to have 120-gallon tank for the parents. And then I would prefer to have, if I'm pulling eggs, I'd like to have like a 2.5, a 5-gallon, and a 10-gallon. And then also a 75-gallon. And stage them through that.
Let's see.
If you have to pull eggs.
I want a breeder wall.
I might help you with that, maybe. We'll see.
Let's have a whole 210 filled full of angelfish.
Right. That might end up happening too with all the fry gap. So.
Right.
The small breeder boxes are very handy. That can hang on that parent's tank, but they only last for so long.
Right.
It keeps them clustered so that way it's easier for them to eat, since the parents aren't curling, pulling them around and putting them on food. Mm-hmm. The little tiny breeder boxes help for that. But realistically, once they start getting pointy, you want them in something bigger, like a 2.5 or a 5-gallon. And then once they start to get like dime sized, then you definitely want to be having them in at least a 10-gallon, and then getting ready to move them on to a 75-gallon at that around dime size. Probably pea size would be a better size for a 10-gallon.
Okay. Well, that's why we stocked up on a few 10 gallons. They're just being used for... Well, one's being used to hold that Senegal for now. He's, 3 inches long until we get everything else set up. But the plan was to get a whole rack system of 10s and 5s, just with air power, to be able to separate, especially with the guppies, trying to get the males and females separated out, because finding out that we had some endlers, they're pretty fish. And I've never been much into guppies, but those I kind of like the coloration on them, so that's something I wanted to play with.
You can realistically grow out angel fry 100% of the way in something like a 20 long. But
Okay.
it does require a lot of better changes. The There's a lot of fish that put in pheromones that helps to stunt the juveniles. You know, the runners will put off a pheromone that slows the growth of everybody else. When you see
Hmm.
those fish, it's usually best to pull the runner, and then another one will take its place. And you just kind of keep doing that.
Keep the hormone down in there.
Yeah, because what ends up happening is that hormone is to stunt them, so that way the biggest one can eat the smallest one. And, you know,
Yeah.
it's just kind of the
I
way
think we
nature works.
I think we even had that in that 5 gallon because there was one that just kind of took off in size.
We're getting it in the other 5 I saw the other
Yeah,
day.
the other 5 even has at least one for sure that's way bigger than the rest of them so far.
And
I
there's a lot
mean,
of
for
species of fish that do
just
it.
developing quicker.
I don't believe that there's a live bearer that does it within the egg layers. There's a lot of them. And that just helps the strongest ones survive. The smaller ones stay small, and then they eat them and
Right,
get even bigger.
right. Yeah, found out quickly that they like to eat each other. I think when I talked to you before about that sponge size in that fluval breeder,
Yeah.
we took a net full of
It's
that last batch, put them in
kind of
there,
like
and then the next day they swam through it.
people say, you know, like bristles are algae eaters and blah blah blah. They're be more like
Just as
omnivores.
much protein eaters as they are other.
100%. They'll opportunistically feed on whatever they can. I've had lots of bristlenose kill each other,
Hmm.
as well as other species of fish that try to get in their cave. Same goes for like
Hmm.
zebra plecos and stuff like that. They're aggressive toward each other. If you don't have enough space and volume to get them separated out, they will fight for territory.
It makes sense.
Plecos are a lot
It's
more
real
aggressive
estate.
than people give them credit for.
Well, I think
You're not going to
I
actively
always
hunt
thought
down
so.
and grub people.
Well, I've definitely seen them. I've seen plecos in our experience disappear, knowing and wondering. They didn't jump out. They didn't get eaten by a goldfish. It was the other plecos in with them,
Yeah. The
finding out
plecos and the
quickly that
bacteria break them down, and depending on how hard your water is,
they
like mine runs
eat
pretty
them.
soft. The bones don't stick around. They get dissolved and eaten by the snakes.
Right.
So,
Right. Well, any questions in the chat
Not yet.
before I move on? Okay. Your fish keeping methods, and it's kind of a broad thing, but I'd like to talk a little bit specifically about the use of plants because I don't know. You showed up towards the right before I left. I'm just going to use it as an example. Mike B's live stream, I think, was yesterday, and he was just kind of asking about plants, and to me and to Katie, plants aren't a hard thing, whether it's aquatic or terrestrial plants. To me, it's fairly simple. Give them a place to live: food, water, light, and they'll take care of themselves. Just don't mess with them too much.
yeah.
And it seems to me like a lot of people are very. They say, "Well, I don't have a green thumb. I can't get them to grow." Well, it's. What is your opinion on the use of plants with fish? And I already kind of know this answer, but I mean, do you think it's a very important thing to have with pretty
It
much
depends on how you do
any
it.
aquarium?
No, not necessarily. It depends on how you want to do it. The vast majority of breeders are sterile breeders, so plants are actually bad. That being said, when they
Okay.
sell their fish, they come from a very sterile environment, so bacteria affect them pretty dramatically. So, like, say you've got a bare bottom glass tank, and that's how you raise breed. and it's all fish everyone knows. It's pretty clean out there. Introduce them into a tank that has your assorted guppies or platies or plants and stuff like that. They can get bacterial infections pretty easily, and not all of them are visible. Some of them are internal. So you all of a sudden get fish dying for no apparent reason, and there's no way for us to really test for it as a fish keeper. But
Right.
I think it's nicer to raise them in maybe a semi-sterile, but not truly sterile. You want them exposed to something so they build up an immunity to it. And they're not just going to go into
Right.
somebody else's tank and flip over.
Right.
Personally,
Yeah, 'cause
I
that'd give you a
prefer
bad name in a
doing them with
heartbeat.
plants. Yeah, it can. Yeah. But most of the fish breeders are used to doing it X way, and that's how they're comfortable doing it. So that's just what they do.
Right.
Most of the
To me, it
most
just
of the
seemed like they were.
hardcore breeders don't use plants.
I can see that being easier because there's a bit of maintenance when it comes to plants. Not a whole lot if you do it right,
There's
but
more to it than
your
that.
tanks
Is it-
your tanks are kind of set up. You're draining. You're moving the water
Yeah.
around. You got to net them up. Less stuff in the way. I think it's more of a convenient thing.
Yeah,
to
it's
keep
almost impossible to get a
plants
fish
out
out
of
of
the-
the tank. I mean, you don't know what your stock is because there's so many nooks and crannies for things to hide in. So you
Yeah.
can't keep track of them. Just
Right.
Too
I
many
prefer to
hitchhikers.
look at the plant tanks.
That's why
There's a
our-
lot of hitchhikers too, yeah. But it's just, I mean, when you try to do
But I
your,
found
your
in our-
adult on your
in
fish,
our tw-
you just can't.
In our 29 gallon that we have our current angelfish breeding pair, we have nothing really planted in the substrate. Everything's floating. A lot of Java moss and a few stem plants in there, but the Java moss kind of going crazy, and it's just top cover. But I've just been finding that the little fry like to just swim in there, and they find food besides what we feed them by poking around in there. And I don't know, it helps also with, the total balance of the tank, but the parents seem to keep them in line. Like, they'll search for them, and at least with that type of breed of fish. But
Yeah.
I've found that certainly in our smaller tanks, the plants just seem to get in the way. They don't, like you said, it's hard to keep track of what's going on. If I can't see everything going on in there, so I tend to like to have a more bare tank. Definitely bare bottom in ours, but
No, I don't like
For
doing the bare
norm-
bottom thing. I'll put a
do you use
thin layer
substrate in yours?
of some sort, at least. I do at least a thin layer of sand. Even in my
I was
quarantine
kinda
tanks and
thinking
stuff
that,
like
too.
because it's supposed to be inert. It's not exactly, because it depends on what the grain's made of. Some of them dissolve, some of them don't.
Right.
Because I don't use a man-made sand. I use the sand from my yard. I go dig a hole and then I sift it out, and that's what I use.
Right.
I have access to that. Not everybody does. Some people live in very thick clay areas, so that's not ideal to put in the
Right.
tank. At least not myself.
Unless you have mud skippers.
Right.
Even mud skippers, I don't think they'd much like it. It's pretty rough.
Mud
But
skipper.
the,
tank.
yeah.
Do you think sand from taken away from any kind of legality things, but do you think sand from like lake beaches, like in our area, because we have lakes just like you have around local
it's
lakes.
risky.
There's usually some sandy, but
Yeah, it depends on how you go about it. If you dry it and bake it, you're safe. If you don't, you do run the risk of adding a parasite. We have lots of fish parasites in our lakes, so it's not a guarantee that you would get one, but there is the potential of it. The same with taking wet driftwood. you run the risk of introducing something to your tank that you're not wanting to deal with.
Right.
The glitch on my side.
Right. It glitched on our side, I think. I don't know what's going on with my connection lately, but it's not as strong as it used to be.
So I'm not opposed to
bumped
adding
up a
stuff
couple
from the lake,
bars there.
but I would prefer to do it in a system that that way I can observe and see what it does.
You think rivers would be any better, or
No, it's the same. I don't think there'd be any change
Still
as
a
far as
water
what you can
column.
get for pathogens. Yeah. The only thing that you can really get that, and it's not even guaranteed that the sand from your yard is parasite free. There could be eggs from back when it was a flooded area. It's like where I live.
right?
This used to be a swamp at some point in time. It could have been 100,000 years ago, but it was a swamp at some point.
Mm-hmm.
We really don't know how long bacteria is going to live. Aquatic ones out of water. Some of them could be indefinite. Like the water bears and stuff, where they just live forever.
Right. Well, it's a common thing. I mean, you're just grabbing regular clear water that you think is fine, and you let it sit for a while. Eventually, something tends to grow in it, or comes alive. And it's kind of amazing that way.
Just like our resurrection jars.
Oh yeah, the father fish thing.
Once they warmed up, all the bugs came out and creeped you out.
That was really cool, but then I ended up dumping them out because I never ended up using them. But man, I thought I tried to do that father fish thing with the resurrection jar. So we went down to our local creek on her family's land and scooped up a glass gallon jar full of water and started just grabbing leaves and sticks and crap in my bare hands, and it was cold out. It was early
December.
Yeah, so it's freezing, but I'm just grabbing barehanded, and we bring it home, bring it inside here where it's like 80 degrees, and it didn't take long. All of a sudden, the creepiest, crawliest bugs were just swimming around. I'm like, dude, I just grabbed that with my hands and didn't even realize, because they were just laying dormant. They weren't crawling on my hand then, and you didn't see them when you're grabbing it, but they're in there, laying dormant.
When I was in high
and that's
school,
just the things you can see.
When I was in high school, I went to school for a year in Port Wing, Wisconsin, and we did something similar to that. And we actually had freshwater feather dusters growing on the glass. It's kind of neat. I mean, they're microscopic, but just knowing that they're there is kind of interesting. We chopped a hole in the ice on the pond at the school, and then filled up the tank with the water.
Yeah. It's a neat lesson in biology that way of checking that stuff out, but I was too afraid to add it to my aquariums. Like Father Fish's method is to use that and build a food web, but it was like I don't know, there was something about it. I didn't want to add anything that would be detrimental.
Yeah, most of it's not harmful. A lot of it is more of a fish health thing. Like they live in the wild with parasites in them all the time. It's more the stresses that we create in our tanks that make that parasite become a problem. And also the fact that it's a confined box. So as the parasites keep making more and more and more, there's no place for them to go to get a new host. So they just keep attacking the same host.
Right.
So that's more where the problem of parasites comes into an aquarium. Usually they live in conjunction and do just fine together. If you go out and you catch a pike or a perch and you fillet it, they're covered in black spots.
Oh yeah.
Each of those black spots is a parasite. Inside, you'll find those like half-inch long grubs in the meat,
Yep.
and
I've seen
they
it more
just
so
cook
in
it.
bass. Yeah.
Latin perch get them really bad.
Yeah, just peppered. There's one lake around here that I used to love fishing at because it seemed like the panfish were a lot cleaner that way. And there's like our Spooner Lake, called Spooner Lake in the town that we live in. I don't like fishing it because it's like, I know it's probably fine. I'm sure it's fine to cook it and everything's kosher, but it's just so I fillet it out, it looks like literally someone just took pepper and just covered it because it's just riddled with those little black spots. But there was a lake that it seemed like every crappie, every bluegill that I caught out of it, it was just clean. And once in a while you'd catch one speck in there, but I haven't gone there for a couple years now. Maybe it's taken over, and I don't know. It could be just an ebb and flow of the system with the parasites. But for some reason, that little tiny lake is very, very clean fish coming out of it.
Yeah. The colder the water, the deeper the lake, the less parasites. For whatever reason, the colder the water, the less the parasite can tolerate it. Mr. Eduardo had zero fish breeding from Cataclysm last year.
Zero.
Arubas like to live in caves too, and I had them in with my super red bristlenose. So the Betarubras would try to go into the caves to steal the prey, and the bristlenose would kill them. It took me 3 fish to figure out what was going on, because I thought the rubras were just fighting with each other. I ended up with having only 1 juvenile fry survive. Because they also ate each other, which was great.
There's
On the I got a pair of
we got a
discus that eventually just kind of fizzled away. They just never took to the water. Didn't eat right from the get-go. And then I had a pair of...
I heard they're kind of finicky, aren't they?
It depends. There's some that are stronger than others. Most of the ones that we have access to, I think, are a little bit too inbred. Too line bred.
Yeah.
So they're more sensitive. Even like the fancy goldfish, if you get into those, they're a lot more temperature sensitive. They run usually more like a discus. They do better in a warmer water. Higher metabolism. It does bring them out faster, but they have less internal digestion issues and stuff like that if you run them a little bit warmer. I had a pair of what were they? A pair of Apistos. I don't remember which one it was. But as they started growing out more, I didn't like the way they looked. So even if they, wouldn't have eventually just passed away, I wouldn't have bred them anyway because there was too much of a deformity to them. The fins were all kind of janky.
Craig's got a question here. What's your favorite species? Oh yeah, Salient. He's gonna non-stop until you say hi to him.
Yeah, I just kind of glanced over, so I haven't really been watching chat much. Favorite species? I don't know. I like the catfish. I like the plecos and the berries. I also like the Sabrinons and the discus and the angels, so it'd probably be more like a regional species, maybe. Like the South American stuff more than anything else.
Cool. Vibes is in the chat. That's cool. Has he been there a while? I just switched over.
He's been driving, so he might be home by now.
I don't know how long you wanted to go, Jeff. I mean, we usually go at least an hour, and I don't want to hold you up on anything, but
No, I still got time. I do need to smoke again though.
yeah,
I'm not
you
used
can
to
go
doing
ahead
it
and
when
smoke
I was
if you
younger.
want to. You can have a smoke on our channel. I don't care, but it's up
The
to you.
fishing for swordfish, yeah. I don't know if I need to do that. I wouldn't mind going fishing for some tarpon and a kayak, though. Tarpon or grouper. Those trips usually don't turn out so good. You end up getting wet.
Yeah.
It's not too bad if it's hot out.
Yeah.
It's
True.
Florida area. They usually do it in one of the bays down there near a bridge. They'll catch some tarpon or some groupers. And I mean, you're looking at a grouper the size of a VW mug versus a kayak. It's just a
And I was watching that live stream. We watched it, in replay because it missed it, but it made me miss my kayak. I ended up selling mine because I don't know. I wanted the money for something else. Hadn't been using it for a while, and now I really really miss it. The thing was so fun to fish from.
so
I do have a few videos out there of me fishing with it. I was thinking of putting them out there, but it just you
when
can just get
me
into
and Jill got
places
married,
there.
before we got married, when we were just dating, we started off with the borrowing canoes and John boats and stuff like that. And then we finally got our first little 14-foot boat. Then the family was growing, so we got an 18-foot. And we used that for a lot of years camping, both the 14 and the 18. And the kids got older, I got a canoe, and they started moving out, so we started using the canoe more. Then COVID happened, and I bought the kayaks and a trailer and everything before the prices went stupid.
Yeah,
Just from the guys. And Jill was very anti because there's notoriously PPE. Absolutely love it. So it's her own personal little mini passport.
yeah.
She still doesn't
Mine,
stand up, and she definitely looks a lot more than when we first started.
mine was just I think it was a Lifetime one or a Pelican, one of the two.
Ours are just Pelicans.
You
They're
could,
not, super high end or
yeah.
nothing.
But it was just paddle one. It was a nice one because the seat you could adjust it, raise it up and down or whatever, and I put extra foot grips in it so I could stand up without. I was just kind of afraid of my feet slipping or whatever, so I put some grip pads in there so I could stand up in it once in a while. But I just like the versatility of where you can go with them, and you don't need much more than 4-5 inches of water, maybe 6 or something, to kind of float into a place. And loading it, unloading it sometimes can be a pain. But trying to back up a trailer for a boat and do all that, I found it easier to just pull the damn thing off, throw it on top. I had at the time a Ford Escape, and I just throw it up on the roof rack, strap it down, and off I'd go.
Takes me longer to do the kayaks than it does a boat.
Yeah, maybe we're just out of practice with your boat, Katie.
I need arms on it so when it's windy it doesn't go like this.
Oh yeah, little guides, because otherwise it's windy. We get the boat lined up, start cranking on it, and the wind starts pulling the boat sideways. That's
never a struggle. I do a lot of fishing. I used to do a lot of fishing out on a low flowage, so the landing's right next to a dam. So even if you didn't have the wind, you still have the water flow.
Yeah.
It's never the funnest to deal with.
Push it right over. We haven't had the boat out in a couple years now, so that's going to change this year. I swear to it. We have to. Now that my job has changed so much within the company I work for that it's just demanded so much more of my time, and now I'm at in a position where where I've got the weekends off. I work the same time every day during the week and can actually plan some stuff.
You guys work on Sundays?
No.
Nope.
Maybe some Sunday we can get together and either you come over this way or I'll come over that way.
That'd be
So
cool.
we can go fishing.
Yeah. Definitely need that this year because it's just the boat that Katie has, she got for free from her dad, and it's pretty messed up. The motor was decent. That we don't have it on there right now because we want to get it rebuilt, but it's an old Evinrude 25. Is it Evinrude?
Yeah.
An older one, like from the 60s, but it's just an immaculate shape, but it needs something. I'm not good with boat motors. But we rebuilt that whole boat. Took out all the flooring, all the wood, even the transom, rebuilt that. Recarpeted, repainted inside and out. And we spent a whole summer. It was the summer of COVID, so there was
summer.
times that we didn't have to work because we knew somebody down the block that had COVID, and that was enough for the health guy to say, no, you can't go to work. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. We'll work on the boat then. And it was a lot of fun. We should actually put like a slideshow together. We got a lot of pictures. This during our beginning phases of our relationship, and we just put a lot of work into that boat together, and to just go out and enjoy it. Just missing that part.
Yeah, definitely.
Life got kind of crazy afterwards. We got to use it the first 2 years afterwards, and then it's been sitting in the garage at your mom's for storage, which is kind of a shame. We put a lot of work into that.
I have that 18-foot boat. I did the same thing too. It was my grandpa's boat, and I redid all the wood in it, put floors in it. It was like 20 years ago or better, and it was long enough ago now that all that wood's got to be replaced again, and the carpeting and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But the last time we used it was around like 10 years ago, and we were out on the water. Something went loose on the water, and the flywheel caught the electronics, spun it around. So the motor itself's been dead since then. The cost of replacing just the motor isn't worthwhile. Aside from like a sentimental thing, but like for an actual true value, there's not enough value to just a motor.
Yeah. We've got a good older friend of ours that has been in the area a long time, and he just knows these older motors like the back of his hand, and he said it, just bring it over and he'll get it going for us, no problem. And I'm like, well, how much? He's like, don't worry about it. That kind of a guy. I'm like, oh, come on, we're gonna have to toss some money his way,
really
but
it probably just needs a good carb cleaner.
yeah.
My 25 horse, I had to do that too every spring. For whatever reason, the carburetor just always grew stuff.
Until then, we just kind of used a trolling motor on the back. It's only a 14-footer, I think, right?
It's 16 feet.
Is it 16?
Yeah, otherwise I wouldn't have had to register
that's
it.
right. It was a 16. But I mean, most of the lakes I like to fish at around here are smaller, no-wake lakes anyways. Usually not a whole lot going on at them. I like the privacy. I don't like going to places where there's a zillion. That's most anglers are like that. They like their lakes where they can have some peace. So a little 30-pound thrust on the back of that with her and I, we get around the edges, and yeah, it's nice and quiet. I kind of like that electric motors on boats. I wish that, you can get bigger motors that are electric. They're super expensive though, and just like not worth it for the boat. But
I owned a trolling motor and a battery before I owned a boat.
yeah.
I just borrowed somebody's John boat and then throw a motor and battery in it and go.
My
That being said,
first
you do have to
boat was
register.
a little 10-foot John boat.
Yeah.
John boats are one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Like the
now it's like
ones
any kind
shallow
of.
water.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I could.
And I do have a set of oars on there, so Jake can paddle.
Oh, yeah. They always got. That's right. You bought a nice set of paddles from the local marina that they had them on sale. That you always got to have an oar.
We got lucky during COVID, like Jeff said before. Prices were jacked.
Oh, God, yeah.
Everything's
the
tripled
wood,
otherwise.
the plywood and stuff we bought, like 3/4 inch. Like, we overdid it for some of the stuff, but to try and buy that wood now would just. We wouldn't have been
Yeah.
able to do it, probably.
No.
Bought my
We
van
would, but it would
that
have been.
winter before COVID, and I needed to outfit it for camping that summer. And what was it? I think I spent like $2,000 in wood just to put a bed in it with some drawers.
Yeah.
It was stupid. It was like $15 a 2x4 and almost $100 a sheet of plywood. It's just
Yeah.
Yeah, it just got ridiculous, and it hasn't really recovered much since then. It's just kind of
no,
stayed up
the
there.
plywood's around 70 or 80 a sheet for birch. I still build my.
Well, we
stamps
did all
out of it.
treated for the boat.
Yeah, we did treated plywood in it, and even that was.
It was still expensive, but nothing like it is
just
now.
Untreated, and we made sure we coated it first because we had a friend that was into redoing boats, and he told us you don't use treated on aluminum because it will treated wood against aluminum will cause chemical reaction. Yeah, so we went through and we like heavily not only painted the inside of the boat where it would touch, but also coated that wood and then wrapped it in carpet so it just no contact available, between the aluminum and that wood. And it just we built a deck in front of it with a hatch, got new seats. I used the original seat post mounts, the little I don't know, recessed ones that came with it, but then we and the bases too, I think.
Mhm.
But the
Flanges.
seats, we went out and bought camo seats because that's your favorite color is camo. But it turned out really good for a couple people that never done that before.
Yeah.
So maybe we can trailer that thing up. Put new bearings on them. We'll double check the bearings on the trailer. Always do that. There's so many
Yes.
people that come up here or come around here because it's kind of vacation land area, and we're like, well, those bearings were good 5 years ago when I put them in there, and it's like, yeah. So they're always
And then you see
stopping
their
at my
motor
store.
trailer sitting
We
on the
need
side of the
bearings.
road with a wheel on it, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
And then
like,
they call
we need
Jake.
we need a new bearing. They bring it in, and it's just destroyed. I'm like,
yeah.
what am I supposed to do with that? I can't measure that. Well, how big is your spindle? I don't know. Like, okay, I want to help you, man, but probably should have checked that before you made your 300-mile trip with your dried out bearings. Just a public service announcement. Grease your bearings.
And my van still has all the original fittings on it, so I have to get underneath that thing a couple times this summer and grease it.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how
It's doing just fine.
something happened on my end. Or everything disappeared.
That's because you clicked on something.
That happens once in a while. See, Craig said that I'm 100% right, and I'm not sure what it is he's agreeing with me on, but
Grease your bearings.
I'm glad that somebody believes I'm 100%. Oh man, I don't care. I don't have to be right.
So when
Katie's
was the
right
last
all
time
the
you guys were up to Superior or Duluth?
Jake's been up there, but I haven't in a long time.
I don't remember the last time I've been up there. It was something work related, I think. I used to live up in Superior for a while.
What year?
Let's see.
In his 20s.
I had turned 21, so how long ago was that?
Well, you're going to be 46.
No, not 45. Don't push it.
Yeah, so
You're
back
going to be
around
46.
I'm not going to be 46 this year. That'd be 2025. Anyways, yeah.
2000. Yeah.
So-
So I lived in South Range around
About
that time
2000.
too. Yeah. We moved up to Iron River, Wisconsin in 99, 2000. And then I started working at the taco plant in Poplar. So then we ended up moving to South Range, just short of Superior. Technically one of the Superior.
Emily's
suburbs,
just-
whatever.
Emily's feeling the chat.
I'm sorry, Jeff, but Emily's just sitting here all like quiet looking, just kind of looking at her phone. And I look over at the chat, and she's just on my case. Good. Eventually, we're gonna mic her up.
Yeah. You might regret
It'll
that.
be worse. I know. It'll
Yeah,
be
I think
worse.
it'd be worse.
She was already making comments before we started.
Yeah.
I raised a monster.
Kids are naughty.
Yeah,
How
I
old is
used to
Emily?
be. Emily is
18.
like 54. No. You're 18.
She's a legal adult.
I knew you were at least 18.
He's younger
Old
than
enough.
Mike.
Old enough that I can legally smack her now.
Right?
Well, and it not be considered abuse, but that's not legal.
Well, I don't know. I don't care. I don't know all the bylaws and ins and outs of the legal system, but I do. It's not an assault on a minor anymore at that point.
No.
I can crush her head. Crush. She looks so tiny down there. She's sitting only 2-3 feet behind us, and then down another 2-3 feet because of the chair, and it just it just makes her look tiny on camera. The angle of this lens.
Yeah. At some point, you should probably look into some of the fish stores up in the Superior area. It's cool. I think Superior is like a 2-hour drive from me. Maybe 2.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Nah.
I used to make it there under an hour when I was younger, and just because I knew there's because pretty much hop on the freeway right out of town here, and it's a straight shot.
Yeah.
And I used to know like all the spots in that road from living up there and then coming and visiting and stuff all the time, coming back home. I knew all the spots that the cops could possibly hide, because there's always those spots where there's no way that it could be any cars. And after driving that enough times, you just knew when you hit those spots, floor it just as fast as you could. And I think we did it in like 40-45 minutes, and it's usually going the speed limit's about an hour and a half. So it was always kind of a competition with a friend of mine that I lived up there with, and he was my friend here too. We used to kind of pride ourselves on how fast we could get back and forth. Really stupid.
And when we lived up by Superior, we went down to Spooner a couple of times. And when I lived in Iron River, we rode the woods over to Spooner a couple of times also. Those were long rides.
Yeah. Yeah. It was,
I've been past Spooner on a dirt bike, on
yeah.
a dual sport. One of the
Come on, like
what
the
is it,
Wild River Trail.
Trans-Wisconsin- No, it's like the Trans-Wisconsin Adventure Trail, or yeah, I think that's what it's called. That's what its abbreviation is. But that goes from Iowa to Washburn,
Okay.
And I caught it over by south of Park Falls, be like the Phillips area, Furnace, over in that
Okay.
area. I
Yeah.
jumped on it and then rode it north up past Schooner and Cable. And it was like a 16-hour ride in the rain because it started raining and in my
Ugh.
trip.
Yeah.
I think the first 6 hours was good, and the last 10 was wet.
Yeah. I've been soaked a few times on a motorcycle before, and it gets quite chilly if you don't have your rain gear and just stop it. I remember on a trip with my dad once when I was younger. I had to ride on the back because I was that young, but then we hit a monsoon on this longer trip. No rain gear whatsoever, and decided, okay, we're gonna pull off and warm up because my back was cramping up from shivering. It was that damn cold, just soaked right to the bone. So we decided to stop at a restaurant. Of course, Dad, you're gonna stop at a restaurant, have some coffee, warm up a little bit. We walked in there, and it seemed like the whole restaurant just stopped eating. Like, it just went quiet, and they turned and looked at us because we were just dripping on the floor. Yeah, that's no fun getting that cold and wet on a bike.
Cold, wet, muddy.
Well, yeah, throw some dirt in there on top of it off-roading. Yeah.
Nice hot shower after you're done is always nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Warm back
that
up.
one I did have to, because I was frozen when I got home. I did have hand warmers on the bike at that point, so it wasn't as miserable as it could have been.
I've done that a lot of times, just four-wheeling,
Yeah.
coming back from all day into the evening, get back home, and then just covered head to toe from dust and dirt. You hop in the shower, it's just like a mudslide of...
Yeah, back in the late 90s, I used to go over to Hurley for the ATV rally there.
Yeah.
And that's all pure red clay. So you were nothing but red when you get out of the shower or get into the shower. You just stain the whole thing.
Yep.
Dry your skin out too.
It's good for the skin. Clears the
Right.
pores.
But people pay high dollar for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just hop on a quad or a bike and...
I'd rather go
Never.
mudding.
Yeah. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, that was basically Hurley's trails. It was just nothing but clay and mud.
Shady Grady's in the house. I saw that. I can finally see June again. That's so awesome. I fixed that the other night. Apparently she was on my block list. I don't remember doing that.
We
so
don't even know how to block.
I think a moderator did that. I got a small list.
I don't know.
I don't know who did it, but it was not me.
Yeah, maybe an accidental one.
I thought she did it. Like I did something or I said something wrong. Like on a few chats it was that way, and I felt just horrible. I'm like, what did I do?
It's possible
she-
you pocket blocked her too.
Yeah,
That happens a lot.
Well, I finally went into the settings and saw that she was the only one on my block list. Emily.
No, when
Deny,
I first
deny,
ran across
deny.
June,
Yeah.
I was in George RB3's stream, I think, and he kept referring to her as June. I was like, well, who's June? I don't see her in chat.
Yeah.
And, I was trying to figure out if I blocked somebody or...
Right.
But that was June.
Yeah, it was in Garcia's when I finally realized it, because people kept saying, hi, June. Hi, June. And then he'd pull up, put her comments up on the screen like we do. I'm like, why am I not seeing that? I don't know. I'm just glad I got it fixed, and it wasn't like something I did, because right away I just think, I screwed up. I said something, made her mad.
Yeah, you're good for that.
I'm like, but why? Like, I love June. Why would she block me? Contemplating my existence as a YouTuber over that.
Oh, Skull is instigating too, just as bad as Emily.
Oh, I bet. We gotta get Skull on here. I know he's does a lot of co-hosting and stuff like that, but we need one-on-one with Curtis on here. Definitely, because I have lots of questions.
Did you see what J-Rock said about Jeff?
It's a good thing you got the real Jeff Kane, because there's a fake one out there, and their beard is whack. Now, did you cut that beard?
No.
Recently? I swear then, because Katie said that she saw you on a live stream and your beard was shaved off. So when I put that little description in this stream tonight, I said, the man, the beard, the legend.
No,
I put question marks
Mexicali.
because I was like...
Mexicali's not starting stuff. He was saying that the reason I've been popping up on people's streams was because I shaved my beard off.
Ah, okay.
Gotcha. Well, I swore I saw on one of your channels. Maybe it was from a long time ago. You didn't have a beard.
Or
You said it was like a recent chat.
No, it was a video.
May have been on Facebook.
It was with your pawns.
My bonds. No,
Yeah.
I don't think I was. I don't think I was in the video.
Maybe it was
It
somebody
was
else.
a different Jeff altogether.
Your alter ego.
There's plenty of those. Goro is one of my alter egos. I think he changed all of his alternate accounts to Jeff Kane in some form at one point.
Oh,
Coro
jeez.
did?
I think there was like probably 20 or 30 different Jeff Kanes, and or spelled in different variants. And everybody was getting confused, thinking I had multiple accounts.
That's one way to mess stuff up, is just open a bunch of new accounts with that person's name.
Yeah,
Too much work for me.
I agree. I have 3 channels. One is my original that YouTube finally opened back up again,
Oh, yeah?
that I don't remember the email for. So it's got no videos on it except for one private. I think that's the only reason why the account didn't get totally deleted.
Is that the one you said you did a lot of gaming on, or?
It is, yeah.
They
So
took it
I only
away?
have one. Yeah, I only have one video on there, and it's a gaming video. But the only reason that I think it existed was because I moved that one to private when they did all their. I uploaded it as a private video when they deleted all my original videos. But the email that it's tied to, I can't get into. It's good.
Use that. I don't know why I invited her along.
Be a backseat driver.
Well, I have to fidget all the time. It's just in my nature. I grab stuff and I'm just... So I got a couple guitar picks and I don't hear it. I was just kind of just snapping them on my finger. Of course, Emily's like, that snapping sound you hear in the background. It's good. I'm glad you're here. You're keeping on top of the chat. Perhaps we'll pay you someday. I don't know. I think all the diapers that I changed in your lifetime is more than paid for that. So
No, I just made an arrangement with my kids that I had to change all their diapers, so they have to change mine when I get old.
There you go.
that's a good idea.
You're on that task, Emily, not me.
Yay. I might just enter into that, right away.
Oh, please
Yeah,
don't.
never know.
Well, just more out of convenience than necessity.
Laziness.
Where was that astronaut lady, was it?
Oh, yeah.
Girl cross country? That was a few years
That-
back.
Oh,
Well, just waiting for a good Black Friday sale, Wipers! All right. It's getting a little gross. Jimmy P's here. We're definitely going to have to line up something with Jimmy P, and you know that we have. But I'm going to announce the date a little bit later. Oh, wait. My birthday show next month is a paid appearance, right? That's right. We're going to have Jimmy P as a special guest on our show.
Jimmy, you're going to have to dance for ones.
Yeah.
For once.
That's how you're going to get paid.
For $1 bills. For $5 bills, Jimmy. Well, we'll discuss that in private. Jimmy P's birthday is next month. On
You're not supposed to say.
yeah, well, it's going to be next month. I'll put a new link up when I get the stream all set up. But I'm just very honored. So I don't think anyone else has got to do it yet. Not in a while, anyways. An exclusive Jimmy P interview. It's going to be great.
He squealed.
The 16th? Yeah, he did squeal, didn't he? Well, that's your birthday.
It'll be the 17th.
Right. Your 16th is your birthday. All right, so we'll just say it. Next month, June 17th. Jimmy P exclusive. It's going to be
Is that
awesome.
going to be Jimmy P's like 170th or?
I think so. We're not allowed to use candles due to the fire danger.
Oh, yeah.
We can use
Don't want anything to
LEDs.
happen to Jimmy.
Right. Yeah. No LEDs. So electric bill would get a little high.
No, the battery operated ones.
Oh, all right. That's
Solar.
fine. I can probably order
There
a
you go.
few more battery backup banks. It'd be cool. You'd
So
be
what
able
do you
to
guys
see
do
it
with your
from space.
greenhouse in the winter?
In the wintertime, this last winter, it just kind of sit. We wanted
Dormant.
to, yeah, just sat dormant. Used it as kind of storage for planters and pots and stuff. What we want to do is be able to heat it, but it's all solar powered. We're looking into doing stuff with biomass and things like that. We can't put an actual wood heater in it because we live in town, so there's that whole, I don't know, against city ordinance or
Our
messes
homeowner's
with-
insurance doesn't cover it,
Yeah.
and we're not grandfathered in through the city
unless we got it insured
to burn.
Heating
To do it.
greenhouse? Oh, the wood. Yeah. No.
to
Yeah.
do
I don't
a
know
wood
that I'd
stove
go
in
with,
there or
but
something. But looking into
Propane.
electric, or propane. Propane would be more
Cost
better.
efficient.
Just- well, that
it's expensive.
it's
Well,
expensive.
our
but-
electric here is through the roof.
Well, to
Really?
do electric with the solar through that, I'd need a lot more powerful system to do electric heat in there. What I'd like to do is some more radiant heat, like black containers of water, rock, things that
Yeah.
retain heat during the daytime and release it. But it's not as reliable. You need the sun. Winter times around here,
Yeah, they
you
can do it
get
in
a lot of
Alaska.
days. Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be more so how efficient is your glass?
Well, it's all plastic, so that's the one thing.
The glass on the panels or the greenhouse?
The glass on the
On the
panels.
green,
Or the greenhouse, yeah.
on the greenhouse.
You,
This is,
You would want
this
your
one's
north
just
side
a
to
plastic
be-
one.
you would want your north side to be 100% insulated. So that way you're not losing anything. And then you'd only want your south side exposed to the sun.
So I've
And
seen a
everything
few
else
things
would
like
be
that with like
closed off.
I've seen that with domes, where they put up a fabric that reflects light and heat on the south side, and something like that would help out. But I think for now, just extending the growing season, just using it as it is going to help out a lot.
Yeah.
If
'Cause
we
you can do
utilize it.
like solar hydronic, because they can pull off solar hydronic in Alaska. And there's a whole month of darkness, so it's just a matter of
Yeah.
how big your storage container is and how fast you lose heat.
Well, I'm pretty sure we lose it pretty quick, at least right now, until this has got it's got those Velcro type windows on the side. That's something that I just kind of wanted to seal up permanently, and not even use those. So in the summertime, actually have cutout vents and fans for ventilation instead of these little roll up windows. And it was good for the kit and what it cost us, but little tweaks here and there to kind of seal it up a little better. The base of it's heavily insulated. It's 3-inch pink, Pink Panther foam all along the base of the walls. So that's good.
You'd probably be better off ditching that and then digging down like 6 feet and insulating the perimeter of the building, and then sucking that geo out of the ground.
Dig her down.
So you can get down past the frost line, and then you're pulling the heat out of the ground. So you keep that section from freezing longer, and usually our ground below 6 feet stays around 50. Which is why most people didn't insulate their basements up here. So once you get below the frost line, it's usually averaged around 50 degrees.
Wow.
My temperature usually comes in at around 50 degrees year round.
There's also looking into like hot water radiant, piping warm water throughout the thing, but there was a video I saw. It was more of a dome type structure, of course, with the poly panels. But what they had was a reflective sheet that would reflect the sun down into a pool of water during the daytime, and then it would heat it up, and then it would pump that water through the base of raised beds, basically, and it would pump that water like a radiator through the garden beds inside of it. And I thought that was kind of neat, because then in the summertime it was almost opposite. They'd take that sheet down, and then the water would help cool them off. But that's just some videos that I watched about it. No real hardcore research into how it all works completely, but there's just so many different ways of getting it done. But as for now, it's like we're just happy that we have something like we have. Oh, there goes my other light.
And even just having the greenhouse buys you time, because our growing season up here sucks. It
Most definitely.
It does. It's at least helping us extending it longer.
Well, right now I have all the
start
plants.
soon.
If we get them planted soon, like within the next couple days, we'll be 3 to 4 months ahead of last year.
True.
Yeah.
And the plants that we had last year grew immense, and we didn't plant those till after July.
Right.
And the tomato plants got 8 feet tall in a little bit of time. So it's
never had a problem growing the plant. It's always been getting the tomato to ripen before the end of the season.
Right.
I tend to stick more to the grapes and cherries.
Right. That's kind of how it happened with us, but I thought it was more so that we had planted so late that when they really were starting to go crazy, it's when it started getting colder. And and the days got shorter, so they just weren't ripening fast enough. But there was tomatoes all over it.
Yeah.
For the most part, yeah. The peppers are almost impossible.
Our peppers did pretty well last year. We had more than we could eat.
Peppers, watermelon, cantaloupe, We had one good year for watermelon, and that was because I tilled the previous years into the ground, and they just kind of came up
Yeah.
wherever. And those
Oh,
ones
nice.
did good.
It seems
But
to be
usually
that
we get
way
a
with
bit-
like squash and vines do that. Like our squash and stuff, all the topsoil that we kind of scraped off because it had leftover bits of the old garden and stuff. We
Yeah.
scraped out of the way just to keep it out of the dirt. There was enough seed left in that. That's the best our squash has ever done. And this big
And we didn't even do
mound,
anything.
like 5 feet tall, it was like a giant squash mound, and it just grew everywhere. We had butternut squash and spaghetti squash galore, just from not doing anything, really, just from having from the previous year tilled into the dirt.
Did
I
that a
could see
couple
that
years,
happening.
and then
Yeah.
I think the third year I went to do it, and we got a late frost, and it wiped everything.
Yeah.
There's nothing like eating fresh water.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah. Anything that you can grow yourself just tastes way better.
Yeah, it doesn't have all the pesticides on it, and
Right.
but, we struggle with potato bugs, and we have to tear down the garden and leave it empty for a couple years. Once they get
Yeah.
rooted in,
Our thing too, we had issues with sprays around here, aerial sprays for moths and I think
I don't-
even we had one time a military jet came over and had to dump.
Let loose fill.
He had to dump his fuel, and he did it right on the edge of town here. It just stunk.
Oh, really?
The air stunk.
Oh, it was horrible.
It was all over everything. My lawnmower was out. The top of the greenhouse. Luckily, we had the greenhouse up, but it was just sticky everywhere. Sticky. I don't know how.
run
Of course,
across that.
it's the military. Like, who's gonna turn them in? Like, they're like, yeah, sorry, even if they say that. But I'm just glad having like an enclosed thing for things like that are sprayed into the air, and it doesn't. Because I think the year before, with our garden being open, and they were spraying for these. Well, they don't call them gypsy moths anymore because it's incorrect.
Spongy moths.
Spongy moths. You don't want it. You know.
Yeah,
Gotta be
offend-
PC,
We don't
Jake.
want to offend gypsies. They're
Yeah,
real.
love the moth.
But they sprayed for them, and I swear that we
Everything
do
was
great with
burnt up.
garden. You could not water it enough. It just would not. No matter what you watered, what you did, all of our plants, every species, just would slowly shrivel up like you weren't watering them at all.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they all died.
Here's it like 2002. You remember the army worms?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
They were so bad that people were sliding in the ditch. The whole ground just crawled.
Yeah. I was living in Superior around then. They were everywhere.
Yeah.
That's like the mayfly
So
outbreaks.
strange. It was so bad. Mayflies again. It's not as bad. Those army worms. I mean, the whole road moved.
Yeah.
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 If we get a really heavy downpour with storms, the frogs will be like that on the back roads.
Yep. But yeah, that was horrible. That was the worst year I've ever seen.
Well, they ate the crap out of the trees. I mean, we had
Yeah,
them.
there wasn't leaf
We
left on
had them
anything.
not too bad. We had them not that bad, but a bit of an outbreak a couple years ago.
The
We
birds
have
ate
this
them up.
big basswood tree in the backyard. And there's big, huge leaves. All of a sudden, you just see there's just less density, and you look at them, they're just chawed up, and they were dropping down like they normally do. But it was kind of. I don't think they were the same kind of worm, though. I call them army worms, but I remember the army worms back in 2002 being a really darker green. And these were lighter colored green.
They're black with they got like racing stripes down the back, like a yellowish green. Yeah.
Right. And the ones from a couple years ago, they were a more of a lighter, leafy colored green, solid color. But they would drop down on these strings as well. But the birds would come. It was kind of fun sitting on the deck watching them just grab them in midair. take them away, and at least they ate them up, but they caused a lot of damage on our trees here.
Yeah.
For that.
They were, that was bad.
Yeah.
That was like, biblical, like, type of crap.
Uh-huh.
And it seems like whenever they find a pest, they have to release a new pest in order to take care of that other pest. And then the new pest
Yeah.
is just as big of a pest. And then they got to release something else to take care of that. It's like let nature take its course. Let the birds eat them.
It's got to be.
I believe that was, which one was it? I don't remember which one it was that they released that Chinese beetle for, the fake ladybug.
Yeah.
Yep.
Those things are so bad now.
They are.
Just, they do take care of illnesses, so I like that winter.
I was hoping that they could find some kind of species of bird that they could release.
Well, there's been new
That
birds coming
can-
into our area.
Well, I mean, something that will eat up those bugs, but, you know, then it would cause a problem where they overpopulate. But if they could find one that tastes just like chicken,
I think most
but
do.
can fly, fly in and then just make it legal to hunt them. So if they overpopulate, man, and just feed everybody. I'm going to work on that. Along with my, I don't want to talk about my other idea. Emily says it's not possible.
Oh, your multi-million-dollar
Yeah.
invention?
Clear metal.
Someday, Jake.
Ferrous metal that can stick to magnets, so it's clear like glass, but bendable.
Oxy, are you sure
Imagine-
that you meant
imagine-
moths?
Imagine the applications. Emily says it's not, that was the thing we were talking about. I was trying to be silly, and she just cut it down right away with her school smart. She's like, it'd have to be a polymer. It would have to be an alloy, but it would be impossible because it just went off on her whole chemistry knowledge, shot down my dream. I'm the parent. Should be the one shutting down your dreams, not the other way around.
Did you ever watch Farscape?
No, I haven't.
It's a space-orientated show that's got a biological ship. And I told my kids that they had to specialize in different fields to be able to build me one. Because that's what I
Yes.
wanted for my retirement.
How close are they?
Well, when they were young, they were gung ho about it, and then they got a little bit older and smarter, and not so much.
Yep. That's all right. I'm going to use Emily's knowledge of chemistry to get all of our water just perfect for fish and for
You can
all
find
of our
out everything
soils
that's
and
in it.
everything. Yeah,
She should have access to like a spectrometer.
yeah. Somehow it's all going to work out. What's that? Oh, she's watching through her phone. She says it's all delayed, so
Yeah.
I look at her and she's still listening to something that was 10 seconds ago. I'll get it geared up so that we can have more than 2 headphone sets listening to stuff. But I was going to try and just put the speaker on, but every time I do, I get some kind of feedback and crap, so I opted for headphones.
So, is Emily in college then, or
Yeah.
what school is she going to?
Platteville. For now.
I don't think I know that one. My middle daughter is still on point,
It's
but I'm not sure if they have anything in her field.
Platteville is one of the top schools for engineering in Wisconsin and for What's it called? Forensic science. Forensics.
Okay.
So the forensics forensics even in Madison doesn't exist like Platteville has. So it's very specialized for that. But as far as I know, they're very well known for engineering and for forensics.
Like mechanical engineering, or
I think
thought
there
that was
are
UW
different
Milwaukee.
fields. What fields of engineering?
They got like everything.
Just all kinds of engineering.
robotics.
They do any robotic stuff there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lots of robotics.
They do that. They do 3D printing. They do labs with metals and stuff. They do it all.
I know that they have like a major portion of campus there is all devoted to engineering.
Yeah, they have their own part.
Well, where are we at? Hour 46. The dead guy was interesting. Oh, we're just talking about Farscape.
Oh.
June said the dead guy was interesting.
Dead guy. Scorpio? Or Scorpius? I think it's Scorpius.
Foxy's got a bad cold, huh? Okay. They're probably talking about the. Okay, that's more show talk.
Oh. Yeah, Lex.
Katie's watching this show. What's the name of that show? The zombie lady that's eating people's brains in order to solve crime mysteries. It's the weirdest thing. That you listen to that premise, it's like that sounds. It sounds far out, and it's like she was watching it, and pretty soon I'm not interesting. Like that's disgusting, but I don't know. It's kind of a good show.
Is it My Life as a Zombie? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Yeah. It was a long time ago. I think when the kids were here for COVID, maybe. And kind of quit watching TV altogether.
I barely ever watch TV unless I'm late at night and want a snack or something, and I'll throw like Simpsons on or something dumb and funny.
I do need to watch Fallout. I want to see that series.
Say it again. It glitched on. What's the name of it?
Fallout.
Oh, Fallout.
Yeah.
I've been hearing from people that that's good. I just never got into the game or anything, and so it may not be as appealing to me. But I've been hearing from a lot of people that it's pretty good.
Was it while the kids were still in high school? We used to game a lot together. So we played Fallout and all that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, there was no Barry yesterday. That was a couple years ago.
That's what it is. Zombie, written by Rob Thomas. That's where she's eating the brains. I saw that in this. So that's the same Rob Thomas as what's that band? Not Matchbox 20, is it? I wonder what it's like to sing just like a goat. Rob Thomas, that guy?
Yeah. Unless somebody meant to say Rob Zombie.
No, it's Rob Thomas. I remember watching the credits while you were.
Oh, I don't pay attention to those. The only time I ever watch TV is with you at night, and we sit down, or I do laundry.
You were already binge watching it earlier, and then we sat down and you're like, "We gotta watch more of this show." So I started watching it with you, and of course the credits play, and you can hit skip. But I noticed at one point it said Rob Thomas.
Yeah. My wife
at least
reads
he
a
has
lot,
a career.
So she has a TV going as background noise. Lately, she's been doing it on one of the like over-the-air classic stations where they play the old westerns and that kind of stuff.
While she reads, she's got to have background noise? Huh.
Well, I'd always put TV on when I did homework.
Yeah, but what I heard
I did
from
too,
doing
but then I
that,
didn't do my homework.
what I heard is it can be beneficial doing stuff like that because you can use associative memory. So, like a trick for if you're allowed, which most schools didn't allow you to listen to music while you were doing the test. That's why they always suggested that you keep it completely silent when you'd study. Because if you play the music or have a song going on while you're studying for that thing, your brain almost needed to hear that again, or it made it easier to remember once you'd hear that sound.
It's called the trigger.
I think it was associative memory or something like that. Maybe associative cognitivity or some. I don't know. I'm probably talking out of my ass, but I have heard that
Like always.
that it does. It triggers your ability to remember certain details.
Yeah.
The same as like a smell or anything that you do, but
Right.
it's a trick for studying. So if you want to pass all of your tests, make sure you listen to the same song over and over again while you're studying for it, and then play it back when you gotta take the test.
Yeah.
Don't look at me like that.
Oh, did you tell everybody we moved the goldfish?
No. It was supposed to be a surprise. I'm still working on the videos.
Well, we don't have to show them.
Oh.
Just
I
yet.
don't even care. It's like, we gotta keep that secret. Oh, you can't look over at this tank right now because I haven't done that video yet. I don't give a shit. You know, we moved the goldfish finally back outside and got the waterfall set up a little bit different way. We're still working on that. But yeah, that's the big news. We moved the goldfish. And I didn't even have to say that because you said, did you tell everyone that you moved the goldfish? No, but you just did.
Oops.
It's like I said, it's fine.
Oh, and Kong.
I'm not going to be all Joey about it where I can't show a certain tank because it might spoil a video later on.
Did you guys move the goldfish outside or
Yeah.
to a different?
And Kong's out there too.
Yeah, Kong, the big old pleco. It's like he's a common pleco, pushing 13, 14 inches probably. He's at least a foot. But he's in the
have some
indoor
clown
stock
plecos.
pond.
I have some clown plecos that I've had for going on 4 years now. Have never spawned for me, so I'm thinking about throwing them in a tub outside this year.
Yeah.
I see what you do out there.
We had a couple common plecos, 2 or 3 in that 700-gallon pond out there, but when we pulled them back out that fall, there was only 1 in there. So I just had thought that the common ones, they get pretty territorial, maybe if they're all male. Is that a thing?
They're getting the same neighborhood to each other. But it's also possible that like something like that.
Yeah. But maybe we just have super goldfish that are highly predatory.
That or it was a stupid
That'd
crows.
be cool. Predatory goldfish.
Maybe. New channel name for you?
Right.
Maybe that can be Emily's channel when she starts it.
Yeah. Predatory goldfish.
Yeah.
Emily is a fantastic artist. I'll share that with you. And I don't know how she's gonna like me saying stuff like that about her, but she's amazing. Any kind of art that she does, whether it's digital with a tablet or actual with paints, anything. She's just really, really good. So and talking to her, I want her to start doing some fish art, some plants, things like that we can hang up around here, and then possibly, if she's got the time, do some paintings that eventually we could do some giveaways on our channel. We're trying to get to where we can have memberships and stuff where we can give away things to members. It's just a goal of ours, but I'd like to be able to dabble in the giveaway things because it's always fun. We've won a few things now, and it's
Yeah.
just kind of fun.
I'm kind of torn on the whole giveaway thing on channels.
Yeah.
You end up at a point like Dan's Fish where it's expected every week.
Right. Well,
And half your viewers go away when you don't do it.
right. That's why it would be kind of a far and in between thing, and we'd probably try it a couple times to see how it goes, but not like okay, we're going to do a giveaway and have it be that way. Because I've thought the same thing. I've seen people get really somewhat upset, I guess, when they don't win or they think it's rigged or some crap like that. And I just never wanted it to turn into anything like that. I wanted it to be more of just a fun way to interact with people. And it might just be something that I definitely, if we get to the point where we can have memberships, if people decided to pay for a membership, which it's kind of hard to do for a lot of people because I don't know how anyone can afford to be a member of every single channel out there unless you got boatloads of money.
I was a member of like 30 channels all the way up until just recently.
Right. That had to have been a large chunk of money just every month, and then keeping track of all of them to make sure that,
Anyway, I ended up being a member to 30 because I wasn't keeping track of them.
Right. Yep.
Instead of doing giveaways and announcing we're doing giveaways, we could just pick random people and tell them to email us.
What I kind of liked doing was having a special guest like this once in a while, and not. There's the panel style, which I don't mind doing, but having like one specific person on, and then giving them something for free in return.
It gets kind of weird with the giveaway thing. I know that you can't do them for members only because then it's a paid legal thing.
Right.
So whenever you do the giveaways, it's going to be like a broad or anything. So stay away from the legal aspect.
Can you give away things like, say, if a person's a member for 1 month, then they get this, and after 2 months they get that, or whatever? Is that probably a legal thing too?
Normally, the ones that did giveaways for being a member would be after a year you get something.
Okay.
Like Aquarium Co-op, you get a coin. Garden of Eater, you get a picture. I'm just starting to do T-shirts. There's some fishing channels that there used to be a member in, where I get a free T-shirt every year.
Right.
So usually the T-shirts bring people like $5 or something.
Well,
Because it's not the same as going to the store to buy one when you have them made for your channel.
yeah. It is more so just a way to give something back in return, and not have it be about money all the time. Is that obviously we're doing this obviously to try to build a channel where we can be monetized and make money doing something that we like to do. There's no doubt about it.
I really like how Stephen P does it, where he gives away the plants to members once a year. Or maybe Degenerate, where he pulls some money together and then he has a raffle for a $50 gift card to somebody.
Right.
Those style giveaways I appreciate when it's member driven.
Right. Well, by no means would it be like trying to figure out a way to make a profit out of it. It's like, okay, you paid
The way that you-
$5 for this membership, so I'm going to give you a $2 item, and that way I make $3. Yes, we'll just
In a
calculate
way,
all that
you-
shit, and I just
You vaguely profit from it just by doing the giveaways across more subscribers. So it increases your potential gain from your YouTube revenues, which is minimal.
I'd rather gain the revenues from our content rather than the crap that we're giving away. And
Well,
just
it
calling
kinda
it crap.
feeds
I
itself,
want
because
the
that's
stickers
like,
and the buttons and stuff are usually like the collectible things that other people
Yeah.
that have channels do as well. It's like everyone wants to trade stickers and everyone wants to do that, but it's never going to
That's
be a
different,
source
that
of income on that.
what Ben does is 100% wrong and illegal. Being as big of a champ as he is, I'm surprised he hasn't gotten tagged for it.
Yeah. Been hearing more and more of that lately, unfortunately. And I
Yeah,
just
you don't want to get
trying
into that
find
where like
ways to be
you don't want to say, "Hey, send money to my PayPal to enter your or to get my a ticket to enter X." There is a
That's just
dirt
not-
bike channel that sells merch, and every entry or every purchase gets you an entry to dirt bike raffle at the end of the year.
I've seen similar
There's-
stuff like that, yeah.
That's legal somehow. I don't know. The
Well,
ins and outs
because
of it,
you're-
but I know that how he's doing it.
Because you're paying, because technically you're paying for a product and you're receiving that product. The fact that you bought the product,
when you buy the product, I believe it's considered to be a free entry.
right.
But there's also a no purchase necessary way to go about getting your name in. And I don't
I think-
know.
I think they always
That-
have
that's
to
for the
allow
legal side.
that. I believe that's right. I think you have to allow a no purchase necessary and something like that. But I just never wanted to get into that sort of thing. I mean, these are just like plain stickers, you know. I'm not. Or we got buttons that we had made, metal buttons, but I think it'd be cool to at least to do something like that because I believe my daughter's very talented when it comes to artistic abilities. Katie is as well, but the things I've seen my daughter paint and draw and things like that are amazing to me because I really love doing that stuff myself. I just haven't in so long. So when I see hers, it just sparks that memory of when I was very into doing that.
But it didn't hurt to do that.
Right. And maybe I had more time to do it then or something, but
When the kids were little, I used
Right.
to draw more. And in high school and stuff
Yeah.
like that, I did. But being away from it for so long that there's no way I can do it reasonably anymore. It would take me so long to draw one thing that
yeah,
I'd get frustrated and walk away from it.
right. Just wanted a way for her to be able to still do that, but then with a side purpose of it is to be able to share it with other people because it's just another thing of having this channel and getting to know lots of different people. It's just to spread our abilities and share the things that we love with other people, and to just have her be a part of it, I think would be really fun. So
It'd
if
be
we would
kinda-
do a giveaway, it'd be for something like that.
That'd be kind of similar to what Grant and Shelby do, though, with the giving away a print of Sam Scales to their members.
Right.
Or occasionally doing a wheel giveaway of it.
Yeah. Well, it's been 2 hours, Jeff. We got to feed our fish and feed our faces. I try
Yeah, I
not
still
to
haven't
go
eaten
much
yet today.
longer than that. I appreciate that you took the time to come on here. Our moderators, of course, if anyone hasn't done it already, put a link up with Jeff's page. I don't know how to do that with where
Curtis
I'm
has
at
been doing pretty well with it, so his vibes.
Well, I thank you guys. Thanks, Curtis.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Eddie.
guys.
Check out Jeff Kane. He's had to redo his channel. He's putting out more and more content. It's good stuff. He's gonna do more and more, I'm sure. You're setting up your fish room the way you want it, or working on it.
Kinda. That's had some alterations. Different plans have occurred.
Yeah.
So that adds more setbacks, unfortunately.
Well, we'd like to see more examples of what you're doing and maybe some processes if you're willing to show it. I know some of the stuff maybe you'd like to keep to yourself, but the things that we've learned from you, Jeff, the times that we've counted on you to help us in a pinch on what to do, and you've taken the time to explain it to us, it's very valuable. As a friend, man, I want to say thank you for that.
Yes, thank you very much.
And you guys, any of you guys that want,
So, I had thought about doing some like future members videos, but I don't think I want to go that path. I think when I finally do all my standards for heating a fish room and heating tanks in a fish room, I'm just gonna do it public. I'm just probably gonna video all of it and then release them once.
yeah,
'Cause
that's the other.
I'm not gonna try to make YouTube my life and my income. So there's no real reason for me to go that path. And
We're
hopefully
kind
somebody
of
is
feeling that way too. To make some money at it would be good, but I don't think I could
I don't even know.
stand being a
I don't know if I
full-time
wanna deal with the taxes.
YouTuber like that.
And taxes are already bad enough as it is with my regular income. If I start adding in other revenues, it's just going to get even worse.
It's just, to me, it's kind of exhausting in a way, and the way things go sometimes of getting caught up in drama and caught up in the politics of who you talk to and who you, all of that crap.
There's a whole lot.
Sometimes that really gets to me sometimes, and like takes the fun out of it. So if I can make a little bit of money to kind of fund some of the equipment or to do things that are fun with fish or with our gardening or whatever, and it helps out financial wise, that's great. But to be a all-time huge famous YouTuber, that's not what I've ever really dreamt about being.
Yeah.
It's not how I want to spend my life. Because to get to that level you got to be really dedicated, I think, and it's just not something that I'm willing to dedicate my life towards. Because in the end, it's still working for a corporation. For me,
for a lot of us that are
I'd
out
in
like a rural area, the YouTube platform kind of becomes our personal fish club. A way for us to share with each other. That's the best way to do
it. It's a wonderful place to meet up, like you said. I love the fact that we can get in touch with each other and all the friends that we make, and I've said that probably on like almost every live stream. This is the reason why we do what we're doing here on YouTube. And it never started out that way, but it came to that in a quick hurry. Getting to know people, getting to share things, all of that is worth more than a single dollar amount that I could get paid from Google to do this.
But so that being said, though, there's no real reason why we can't have like an annual or a semi-annual actual gathering someplace. Kind of like,
For us northerners up here.
yeah, kind of what I'm pushing for with
Or-
Foxy with her Wisconsin Fish Fam cookout.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. I'm looking forward to that big time. I feel
am
bad
too.
that I don't get to watch as much of her shows or her streams as much as I want to, but it gets to be one of those things where I can go to a live stream and I wear myself out trying to say hi to each and every person because I know I've seen everybody and I want to say hi, so I start doing like widespread highs, of like hello everybody, hey, you know. But
I've gotten kind of
being
to the
that
point
said,
where
I don't have all the time in the world to watch everybody's videos and still do my regular life and stuff. So I'm sorry. I try to catch everybody's stuff, and I keep an eye on things. But what's
What are
most
your
important
YouTube
is that
viewing
we
hours?
have some.
usually
I
my
haven't
YouTube
checked
viewing
them out.
hours average somewhere around 60 to 80 hours a week.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's
That's
way too
full-time
much,
job.
and I don't get paid enough for it. I'll tell you that.
Right. Well, we'd certainly appreciate all the times you've been in the chat rooms with us, either on ours or on other people's channels, and the interactions. That's the important part. I'd love to. I think I'm on board with you, man, for sure. That annual or semi-annual physical meets with people, and it doesn't have to be a huge Aquashella thing, but
No, that
getting-
takes away from it because
getting together.
personally, if I'm going to that kind of event like the Cataclysm, I want to go there for the speakers and that kind of stuff, not necessarily just the hangout aspect. Whereas, like, a cookout type gathering is more the hangout type aspect.
Yeah. Yeah,
Getting
hang
to know
out,
each other out.
cook out like a camping type thing or something, spend the night or two camping, cooking, hanging out, enjoying nature with nature lovers, like just hanging
Yeah.
out. That's a total different experience, and I think that's, at least for us living around here, that's almost like life. I mean, we live in an area that's like that. That's the smell of summer, man. It's grilling, being outdoors after a long ass winter, and enjoying it with your friends and family. And I think that kind of
If I ever
event would
leave-
be.
If you really want to have some find a big thing.
Yeah.
Campo cookout for sure.
Plus, Katie loves cooking.
We love when she cooks.
Wow. All right. We're going to end it now, I guess. I said that like 15 minutes ago, but actually, I'm going to let this run all night. The rest of the night, it's going to be just pointed at this 29-gallon tank over there. Actually, I'm going to point it at this plant. You guys can watch that grow for the next 12 hours. Make sure you like and subscribe both Jeff Kane and to our channel. And anyone else's channel that you see in the chat, subscribe and like them all. Except for Mexicali. He's got enough at this point. He doesn't need any more.
Just kidding.
Passing Wind definitely needs some more, so check that guy out as well. I don't know. I swear I'm going to put this awesome video out, and it's going to be nothing but why I can't tell you.
Don't let the cat out of the bag.
Somebody else will steal my idea.
So,
Yeah.
what are you guys doing next Sunday?
Next Sunday? What is next Sunday?
Yeah.
The 26th. Probably working on crap around the house, like normal.
I'll have to chat later about some fish. Maybe I'll swing over next Sunday. I'll talk to the wife and see if she wants to ride with or if I come over by myself.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
We're
Most definitely.
We usually don't have any big plans of going anywhere, so we're just gonna be hanging out at home, working on the ponds, working on the flowers and garden.
Yeah, that shouldn't
Just
interfere
what we
with
do.
any of that then. And I can check
No,
out your
we
local
just-
store too and see what they got.
Yeah, We'll ransack the place. Cameras blazing. I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's a little neat store. All right, man. I don't have anything smart ass to say anymore.
Mark that on the calendar.
Yeah, I don't know where it's gone.
Well, it's past your bedtime, so you better go to bed.
Oh my God. Isn't
Getting old, Jake.
16 minutes past your
Yeah.
I can't
He
help
gets
it.
a little
It just
more
happens
senile
every
towards
day.
the end
Just
of
a
the
little
day.
bit older.
senile. He needs to go to bed.
I'm not senile.
Just a tad.
Last I checked, well, I don't remember being senile.
You
I'm
won't.
definitely working on it.
You're not supposed
Okay.
to remember.
Well, as always, everybody, thank you for coming and enjoying the evening with the rest of us and all of your awesome comments, chats, and helping everyone out here with views. And big old thank you to Jeff for coming on and being our special guest tonight. We really appreciate it. And
And a thank you to Emily Hill. She's been the best chat moderator we've had. Well,
instigator.
instigator. That's a different thing altogether. Thanks, Jeff. Say hi to Jill for us, and it'd be a pleasure to meet her as well.
Yeah, just give us a message and let us know what's going on.
Yeah.
Will do.
Stay well, brother. Thanks a
You
lot.
guys
dude.
too.
Bye, everybody.